The courthouse steps felt colder than they should have been for a spring morning. Maya Torres stood at the bottom, staring up at the stone building that would decide her future. In her arms, 2 car seats, one pink, one blue, each holding a sleeping infant. 3 months old. Too young to understand that their entire world hung in balance. She hadn't slept more than 90 minutes at a time in weeks. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, wisps escaping around her face. The dress she wore was clean but showed its age, the hem slightly frayed, a button replaced with one that didn't quite match. She smelled like baby powder and desperation. Across the parking lot, she saw him, Marcus, her husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, climbing out of a sleek black sedan. He wore a suit she'd never seen before, probably bought with money that should have gone to diapers and formula. Beside him emerged a woman in a cream dress that probably cost more than Maya's entire wardrobe. Victoria Lane, the woman who had decided Maya's marriage was hers to claim. Victoria's heels clicked against the pavement with confidence. Her blonde hair cascaded in perfect waves. Everything about her screamed wealth and privilege. And when she looked toward Maya, there was no guilt in her eyes. Only entitlement. Maya's stomach churned. She wanted to scream, to demand answers, to ask what kind of person destroyed a family and then smiled about it. But she didn't. She'd learned that dignity was sometimes all you had left when everything else was taken. The courthouse doors opened. Maya took a deep breath and started up the steps, 1 car seat in each hand. Her shoulders burned from the weight. Her C-section scar pulled with each step, a constant reminder of what she'd endured alone. But she climbed. For Emma and Elijah. For the 2 tiny humans who depended on her for everything. Inside, the hallway was too bright, too loud. Lawyers in expensive suits rushed past, talking on phones. Families sat on benches, faces etched with worry. Maya found a spot near the courtroom door and set the car seats down carefully. Emma stirred but didn't wake. Elijah's tiny fist was curled against his cheek. Maya. She looked up. Her attorney, Rebecca Walsh, stood before her. A black woman in her mid-40s with kind eyes and a reputation for fighting hard. Maya had used every penny of her savings to afford her. "Are you ready?" Rebecca asked gently. Maya looked down at her sleeping babies. "I have to be." Through the courtroom doors, she could see Marcus and Victoria taking their seats. Victoria leaned close to Marcus, whispering something that made him nod. They looked like a couple. Like they belonged together. Like Maya and the babies were just obstacles to be removed. The bailiff appeared in the doorway. "Carter versus Torres. We're ready for you." Maya's hands trembled as she picked up both car seats again. This was it. The moment that would determine whether she'd keep her children or lose them to a man who'd already proven he could walk away. She stepped through those doors, knowing that the next few hours would change everything. And all she had was the truth, her love, and the hope that somehow that would be enough. The courtroom was stark and unwelcoming. Wood paneling climbed the walls to a high ceiling. The air conditioning hummed too loudly. Maya maneuvered through the gate with both car seats, her arms already aching. She set them down beside her chair at the plaintiff's table and immediately checked both babies. Still sleeping. Small mercies dot across the aisle. Marcus sat rigidly beside his lawyer, a man in an immaculate suit with silver cufflinks that caught the light. Mr. Harrison looked like someone who'd never struggled a day in his life. Behind Marcus, in the first row of the gallery, Victoria sat with perfect posture, her legs crossed elegantly. She was smiling. Actually smiling. Maya's chest tightened with rage she couldn't express. All rise for the Honorable Judge Patricia Morrison. The room stood. Maya struggled to her feet, wincing as her healing scar protested. She gripped the table for support and watched as the judge entered. Judge Morrison was a woman in her late 50s with silver hair pulled into a neat bun and sharp, intelligent eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Her black robe swished as she took her seat at the bench. "Be seated." Everyone sat. Emma made a small whimpering sound. Maya's hand instantly went to the car seat, rocking it gently until the baby settled. "We are here today," Judge Morrison began, her voice clear and authoritative, "for the matter of Carter versus Torres. Divorce proceedings and custody arrangements for minor children." She glanced at the file before her, then looked up. "I see we have infant twins involved." Rebecca stood. "Yes, Your Honor. Emma Rose and Elijah James Torres, 3 months old. My client, Ms. Maya Torres, has been their sole caregiver since birth." Mr. Harrison rose smoothly. "Your Honor, my client, Mr. Marcus Carter, is seeking joint custody and wishes to be actively involved in his children's lives." Judge Morrison's gaze moved to Maya. "Ms. Torres, I understand you've brought the children to court today." Maya stood, her legs unsteady. "Yes, Your Honor. I didn't have anyone to watch them. My sister usually helps, but she had to work, and I couldn't afford." "It's quite all right, Miss Torres," Judge Morrison said, her tone gentler. "You may sit." Maya sank back down, hating how small her voice sounded, hating that she had to explain why a single mother with no money and no help had to bring her babies to court. Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. "Your Honor, if I may, this situation illustrates Ms. Torres's lack of adequate support systems. My client is prepared to provide financial stability, a safe home environment, and a safe home environment?" Rebecca interrupted, her voice sharp with controlled anger. "Your client abandoned his wife and newborn twins to move in with his mistress." A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Victoria's smile faltered. "Counselor," Judge Morrison said, a warning in her tone. "My apologies, Your Honor," Rebecca said smoothly. "But the facts are relevant. Mr. Carter left his family 1 week after these children were born. Ms. Torres has been solely responsible for 2 infants while recovering from a difficult childbirth. She has managed every feeding, every diaper change, every midnight wake-up, all without any support from the defendant." Mr. Harrison opened his mouth to respond, but Judge Morrison raised her hand. "I will hear testimony shortly. But first," she looked directly at Victoria. "Ma'am, are you Ms. Victoria Lane?" Victoria stood with practiced grace. "Yes, Your Honor. And what is your relationship to Mr. Carter?" Victoria's smile returned, confident and bright. "I'm his partner, his girlfriend." The word hit Maya like a physical blow. Judge Morrison's expression remained neutral. "I see. And you're present today because I support Marcus," Victoria said smoothly. "I think it's important for the court to understand that he has a stable relationship now, a future. We can provide these children with everything they need." Maya bit down hard on the inside of her cheek. She tasted blood. Judge Morrison removed her glasses and set them deliberately on the bench. "Ms. Lane, this is a custody hearing concerning minor children and their parents. Unless you are a party to this case, your presence in the front row beside the defendant is inappropriate. You may observe from the back of the gallery." Victoria's perfectly made-up face flushed. "Your Honor, I just think gallery seating, Ms. Lane. Now." For a long moment, Victoria didn't move. Then, with a sharp inhale and a pointed look at Marcus, she grabbed her designer purse and walked to the back of the courtroom. Her heels clicked loudly in the silence. She sat down with obvious displeasure, arms crossed. Maya felt something unfamiliar flutter in her chest. Validation. Someone had finally put Victoria in her place. Judge Morrison replaced her glasses. "Now, let's proceed properly. Mr. Carter, please take the stand." Marcus stood, his jaw tight. He walked to the witness stand with careful steps, was sworn in, and sat down. He looked uncomfortable. Good, Maya thought. You should be. Rebecca approached the witness stand with measured steps. Her expression was calm, but Maya could see the steel beneath. Mr. Carter, Rebecca began, you left your wife and newborn children approximately 3 months ago. Is that correct? Marcus shifted in his seat. The marriage was over. I left because that wasn't my question. Did you or did you not leave your wife and infant twins 3 months ago? Yes. And where did you go? A pause. I moved in with Victoria. Ms. Lane, the woman who was just removed from sitting beside you. Objection, Mr. Harrison called. Relevance. Sustained, Judge Morrison said. Counselor, please make your point. Rebecca nodded. Mr. Carter, since leaving, how much financial support have you provided for your children? Silence, Mr. Carter. I've sent money when I could, Marcus said quietly. How much total? Marcus looked down. I'm not sure exactly. Rebecca walked to her table and picked up a folder. Your Honor, I have bank records showing that in 3 months, Mr. Carter has contributed exactly $250. That's less than $85 per month per child. Judge Morrison's expression hardened. She looked at Marcus. Is this accurate? I've been trying to get established in my new situation, Marcus said defensively. Your new situation, Rebecca repeated. You mean living with Ms. Lane in her townhouse, the one she owns outright, according to property records. Objection. Mr. Harrison stood. This is becoming argumentative. I'm establishing financial capability, Your Honor, Rebecca said calmly. Mr. Carter claims he couldn't afford to support his children, yet he's been living rent-free and has taken at least 2 vacations in the past 3 months. Marcus's face went pale. Vacations? Judge Morrison's eyebrows rose. Rebecca produced printed pages from the folder. According to social media posts from Ms. Lane's public account, Mr. Carter accompanied her to Miami in February and Las Vegas in March. In the back of the courtroom, Victoria stood up. Those trips were planned before, Ms. Lane. Judge Morrison's voice cracked like a whip. I warned you. One more outburst, and you will be removed from this courtroom entirely. Bailiff, please escort Ms. Lane outside. Your Honor, Now. The bailiff moved toward Victoria. She grabbed her purse with shaking hands, shot a venomous look at Maya, and left. The doors closed behind her with a heavy thud. Maya's hands trembled in her lap. She hadn't known about the vacations. While she'd been surviving on 3 hours of sleep and stretching every dollar, Marcus had been living it up in fancy hotels. Elijah began to cry. Then Emma joined him, both babies wailing in unison. The sound filled the courtroom. Maya quickly unbuckled Elijah and lifted him to her shoulder, bouncing gently and shushing. But Emma's cries grew louder. Maya tried to reach for her while holding Elijah, but her arms were shaking from exhaustion. Ms. Torres, Judge Morrison said, her voice softer now. Would you like to take a break? No, Your Honor, Maya's voice cracked. She was trying so hard to hold it together. From across the aisle, Marcus stood. Let me help. Sit down, Mr. Carter, Rebecca said sharply. But Marcus was already moving toward Maya. He reached for Emma. Maya pulled back instinctively, clutching Elijah tighter. No, they're my children too, Marcus said. Where were you when they had colic? Maya's voice broke. Where were you when I couldn't figure out why Emma wouldn't stop crying for 6 hours straight? Where were you, Marcus? The courtroom went silent except for the baby's cries. Marcus's face crumpled. I'm sorry, Maya. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't pay for formula, Maya said, tears streaming down her face. Sorry doesn't keep me up at night wondering if I'm failing them. Sorry doesn't matter. Judge Morrison stood. We're taking a 30-minute recess. Miss Torres, there's a private room adjacent to this courtroom. You may use it to tend to your children. Maya nodded, unable to speak. She gathered both car seats, Rebecca helping her carry them. They moved through a side door into a small, quiet room. The door closed. Maya collapsed into a chair with both babies in her arms and finally let herself sob. The private room was small and plain. A table, a few chairs, a water cooler in the corner. But it was quiet, and that was all Maya needed. She sat with both babies, Emma now feeding from a bottle while Elijah had finally settled against her chest. Rebecca stood by the door, giving Maya space but staying close. "You did well in there," Rebecca said gently. Maya let out a hollow laugh. "I broke down crying. You're human." Judge Morrison saw exactly what she needed to see. A mother who's been carrying an impossible weight all alone. Emma finished her bottle. Maya shifted her to burp while supporting Elijah with her other arm. The movements were automatic now, muscle memory from 100 sleepless nights. "I didn't know about the trips," Maya said quietly. "While I was using coupons and skipping meals to afford diapers. I know," Rebecca said, her voice tight with controlled anger. "And the judge knows now too. Will it matter?" "It will absolutely matter," Rebecca assured her. "Judge Morrison doesn't tolerate parents who abandon their responsibilities. You just need to hold on a little longer." Maya looked down at her babies. Emma's eyes were closing again. Elijah's tiny hand was wrapped around her finger. These children were everything. Her reason for waking up. Her reason for fighting. "I'm terrified," Maya admitted. "What if he gets them? What if the court thinks his money matters more than—" "Money isn't everything," Rebecca interrupted firmly. "Love is. Stability is. And you have both. Trust me." A knock on the door. The bailiff poked his head in. "5 minutes, counselor." "We'll be right there," Rebecca replied. After he left, Rebecca crouched down beside Maya's chair. "When we go back in there, I need you to stay strong. Not for him. Not for that judge. For them." She gestured to the twins. "You've already proven you're their mother in every way that matters. Now we just make sure the court sees it too." Maya took a shaky breath and nodded. She carefully placed both babies back in their car seats, tucking blankets around them. She wiped her face, straightened her dress, and stood. "Okay," she said. "Let's finish this." When they returned to the courtroom, the atmosphere had shifted. Victoria was gone. Marcus sat alone at his table, his lawyer whispering urgently to him. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. Judge Morrison was already on the bench, reviewing documents. When Maya took her seat, the judge glanced up and gave a small nod, a silent acknowledgement that felt like respect. "We'll continue," Judge Morrison said. "Miss Torres, I'd like to hear from you now. Please take the stand." Maya's heart jumped. She hadn't expected to testify. Rebecca gave her an encouraging nod. Maya stood on shaky legs and walked to the witness stand. The bailiff swore her in. "I do," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. She sat, hands folded tightly in her lap. Rebecca approached. "Ms. Torres, can you tell the court about the last 3 months of your life?" Maya took a breath. "It's been the hardest time I've ever lived through. I found out I was pregnant the same week I found out Marcus was cheating. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. My sister, Rosa, she's my only family. She works 2 jobs. I couldn't burden her with 2 babies. So you stayed," Rebecca said. "I stayed. I thought maybe Marcus would change his mind, that he'd choose us. But he left a week after they were born. How have you managed?" "I do remote data entry work when the babies sleep. But after they came, I lost most of my clients because I couldn't meet deadlines. I've been living off savings and whatever Marcus sent, which wasn't much." Rebecca walked slowly before the bench. "And during this time, were you aware Mr. Carter was taking vacations?" "No, not until today. How does that make you feel? Mr. Harrison stood. Objection. Relevance to custody. Judge Morrison considered. Overruled. I'll allow it. Maya's voice was quiet but steady. It makes me feel like we never mattered. Like our children never mattered. He had money for trips and a new life, but not for diapers. Not for the medical bills I'm still paying off from my C-section. Not for the formula that costs $40 a week. The courtroom was silent. Judge Morrison leaned forward. Miss Torres, what are you asking this court for? Maya turned to face the judge directly. I want full custody. I want child support that actually covers what it costs to raise 2 babies. And I want Marcus to prove he's serious about being a father before he gets unsupervised time with them. Because right now, I don't trust him. And I can't risk my children being abandoned the way I was. Judge Morrison nodded slowly. Thank you, Miss Torres. You may step down. Maya returned to her seat, her legs weak beneath her. Rebecca squeezed her shoulder. Mr. Carter, Judge Morrison said, her tone sharp now, I'm going to ask you directly. Why should this court grant you custody when you've provided virtually no support, financial or emotional, to your children? Marcus stood, his face pale. Your Honor, I made mistakes. I know I did, but I love my kids. I want to be in their lives. Love is an action, Mr. Carter, Judge Morrison said, her voice like steel. Not just a feeling. What actions have you taken? I've been trying to get my life together so I can be there for them. By taking vacations? Marcus's lawyer stood quickly. Your Honor, sit down, counselor. Judge Morrison's eyes never left Marcus. Your client's personal choices are absolutely relevant when he's asking for custody of 2 infants he's barely supported. The evidence shows you have the means, Mr. Carter. You've simply chosen not to use them for your children. That tells me everything I need to know about your priorities. Maya felt tears of relief building. Someone finally understood. Judge Morrison removed her glasses and set them on the bench. The gesture felt deliberate, weighted with significance. I'm going to order a home evaluation for both parties, she announced. I want a social worker to visit both residences within the next week and provide a full report on living conditions, preparation for children, and each parent's capability to provide appropriate care. Rebecca stood. Your Honor, my client welcomes such an evaluation. Mr. Harrison rose more slowly. As does my client, Your Honor. Good. Judge Morrison replaced her glasses. We will reconvene in 2 weeks to review the social worker's findings. Until then, the current arrangement stands. Ms. Torres retains primary physical custody. Mr. Carter may have supervised. Visitation twice per week for 2 hours each. Session. Marcus's shoulders sagged. This court is adjourned. The gavel came down with finality. As people began to file out, Maya sat frozen in her seat. It wasn't over. Not yet. But she'd made it through. She'd told her truth. She'd been heard. Rebecca gathered her papers. You did beautifully. The judge is clearly sympathetic to your situation. What happens now? Maya asked. A social worker will contact you to schedule a home visit. Just be yourself. Show them what you've shown me, that you're a devoted mother doing everything possible for your children. Maya nodded, then looked across the aisle. Marcus was standing by his table, his lawyer speaking to him in low tones. He looked lost. For just a moment, Maya felt something unexpected. Not quite pity, but a recognition that he was realizing what he'd thrown away. As if sensing her gaze, Marcus looked up. Their eyes met. Maya, he said, taking a step toward her. His lawyer grabbed his arm, but Marcus shook him off. Maya, please. Can we talk? Rebecca moved between them. Mr. Carter, that's not appropriate right now. I just want to tell her I'm sorry, Marcus said, his voice breaking. I need her to know I messed up, that I'm going to do better. Maya stood, Emma's car seat in one hand. You want to do better? Then prove it. Not with words, with actions. Show up for them. Be the father they deserve. That's the only thing I want from you now. She picked up Elijah's car seat and walked past him toward the doors. Rebecca followed, carrying Maya's diaper bag Dot in the hallway. Maya's sister Rosa was waiting, having rushed over on her lunch break. She was younger than Maya by 3 years, with the same dark eyes and warm smile. How did it go? Rosa asked anxiously. We have 2 more weeks, Maya said. There's going to be a home visit. Rosa immediately switched into problem-solving mode. Okay, I'll take tomorrow off. We'll clean your apartment top to bottom. Make sure everything is perfect. Rosa, you can't keep taking time off work. Yes, I can, Rosa said firmly, taking one of the car seats. You're my sister. Those are my nephew and niece. Family helps family. That's how this works. Maya's eyes filled with tears again. I don't know what I'd do without you. Lucky you'll never have to find out. They walked to Maya's old Honda in the parking lot. As Rosa helped load the car seats, Maya looked back at the courthouse. Through the glass doors, she could see Marcus standing alone in the lobby, his phone to his ear. Probably calling Victoria. You think he'll actually change? Rosa asked quietly. I don't know, Maya admitted. But it's not my job to believe in him anymore. My job is to protect them. She looked at her babies, both miraculously still sleeping. That's all that matters now. 3 days later, a social worker named Jennifer Park knocked on Maya's apartment door at 10 in the morning. Maya had been up since 6, cleaning anxiously, even though Rosa had already scrubbed every surface the day before. Miss Torres? Jennifer was a Korean-American woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a professional demeanor. I'm here for the home evaluation. Please, come in. Maya stepped aside, suddenly hyper-aware of how small her apartment was. 1 bedroom, a cramped kitchen, worn carpet. But it was clean. It was safe. It was filled with love. Jennifer entered, taking in the space with a practiced eye. You have a lovely home. Thank you, Maya said, though she knew lovely was generous. Emma and Elijah were in their bouncer seats, awake and watching with serious expressions. Jennifer immediately smiled at them. And these are the twins. Emma and Elijah, correct? Yes. Jennifer pulled out a tablet. This isn't meant to be stressful, Maya. I'm just here to understand how you're managing and what kind of environment the children are living in. For the next hour, Jennifer asked questions about Maya's daily routine, the baby's schedules, her support system, her finances. Maya answered honestly, showing Jennifer the detailed logs she kept of feedings and diaper changes, the medical records organized in a binder, the budget spreadsheet where she tracked every penny. This is very thorough, Jennifer said. Impressed. I need to be organized, Maya explained. With twins and working from home, if I don't write everything down, I lose track. Jennifer made notes. Tell me about your support system. My sister Rosa helps when she can. She's here almost every day after work. My church has been amazing too. They organized meal deliveries after the babies were born. And my neighbor Mrs. Chun checks on us, brings groceries sometimes. And Mr. Carter? How often does he visit? Maya's expression tightened. Once, 3 weeks ago. He stayed about 20 minutes. I see. More notes. And has he provided financial support? $250 total since they were born. Jennifer's eyebrows rose. But she simply nodded and continued her evaluation. She inspected the bedroom, where Maya had set up 2 bassinets side by side. The sheets were clean, the mattresses firm. She checked the kitchen, noting the cabinet locks Maya had installed even though the babies couldn't crawl yet. She observed Maya change a diaper, feed both babies, soothe Emma when she started fussing. Finally, Jennifer closed her tablet. Maya, I want you to know that what I've seen today is exceptional. You're managing an incredibly difficult situation with grace and competence. Your children are clearly loved and well cared for. You should be proud. Maya felt tears threaten. Thank you. I'll be visiting Mr. Carter tomorrow. Then I'll compile my report for Judge Morrison. After Jennifer left, Maya collapsed on her couch with both babies. She'd passed. She knew she had. But that meant Marcus was being evaluated too. And she had no idea what Jennifer would find there. Jennifer Park pulled up to a modern townhouse in an upscale neighborhood the next afternoon. The lawn was manicured, the exterior pristine. This was clearly Victoria's home, purchased long before Marcus entered the picture. Victoria answered the door, an expensive activewear, her hair in a sleek ponytail. You must be the social worker. Miss Park, Jennifer said pleasantly. Is Mr. Carter home? He's upstairs. Victoria stepped aside with obvious reluctance. Come in. The interior was stunning. Hardwood floors, designer furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows. But as Jennifer's trained eye swept the space, she noted something crucial. There were no signs of children. No toys, no safety gates. Nothing to indicate babies would ever be present here. Marcus. Victoria called up the stairs. Marcus descended a moment later, wearing khakis and a button-down shirt. He looked nervous. Miss Park, thank you for coming. Of course. Jennifer pulled out her tablet. Shall we sit? They moved to the living room. Victoria sat close to Marcus, her hand on his knee. Jennifer noted the possessive gesture. Mr. Carter, tell me about your involvement with your children since their birth. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I've tried to be present. It's been difficult with the divorce and everything, but I want to be a good father. How often have you visited? A pause. A few times. Can you be more specific? Maybe 3 or 4 times. Jennifer made a note. And how long were these visits? About an hour each. Have you changed a diaper? Silence, Mr. Carter. Not yet, Marcus admitted. But I'm willing to learn. Have you fed them? Bathed them? Put them to sleep? Maya always seemed to have it under control, Marcus said defensively. I didn't want to get in the way. Jennifer's expression remained neutral, but her tone cooled slightly. Being a parent isn't about getting in the way, Mr. Carter. It's about being present and active in your children's care. Have you taken any parenting classes or read books about infant care? I've been busy with work, yet you found time for vacations. Jennifer interrupted gently. Marcus's face flushed. Victoria squeezed his knee. Jennifer turned to Victoria. Ms. Lane, if Mr. Carter is granted increased custody, would you be involved in the children's care? Of course, Victoria said confidently. We live together. I'd help. Do you have experience with infants? No, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Jennifer didn't respond to that. Instead, she stood. I'd like to see the rest of the home. They walked through the townhouse. 3 bedrooms upstairs. The master was clearly Marcus and Victoria's. The second was set up as a home office. The third was completely empty except for storage boxes. Is this where the children would sleep? Jennifer asked. We were waiting to see what the court decided, Marcus said quickly. I see. Jennifer took photos and notes. No cribs, no changing table. No supplies of any kind. Back downstairs, Jennifer asked about finances. You're currently contributing $250 in child support. Can you explain why that amount is so low? I've had my own expenses, Marcus began. Rent, car payment. You don't pay rent here, Victoria interjected, trying to be helpful. This is my house. Jennifer raised an eyebrow but simply made another note. After 45 minutes, Jennifer closed her tablet. Thank you both for your time. I'll be submitting my report to Judge Morrison within the week. As she walked to her car, Jennifer heard raised voices from inside the townhouse. She didn't look back. That evening, Jennifer sat at her desk, compiling her report. The contrast between the two homes couldn't have been starker. Mother's residence, safe, clean, child-focused environment. Evidence of strong routine, detailed record-keeping, and comprehensive knowledge of children's needs. Strong support network. Financial limitations present, but well managed through careful budgeting. Mother demonstrates consistent, hands-on care. Father's residence. No preparation for children's presence. No safety measures, sleeping arrangements, or supplies. Father demonstrates limited knowledge of basic infant care and has had minimal involvement since birth. Financial contributions inadequate despite evident resources for personal expenditures. Recommendation: primary physical custody to mother with structured visitation for father. Supervised initially and transitioning to unsupervised only after demonstrated consistent involvement and competence. Jennifer reviewed the report once more, then submitted it to the court. The night before the hearing, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in her bed, listening to the babies breathe through the monitor. Emma had been fussy earlier, fighting sleep. Elijah had woken twice for night feedings. But now, at 3 in the morning, both were finally quiet. Maya's phone lit up with a text from Rosa. You're going to do great tomorrow. I believe in you. Maya typed back. Thank you for everything. I love you. She set the phone down and stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow, Judge Morrison would make her decision. Tomorrow, Maya would learn if she'd be allowed to keep her babies, or if she'd have to share custody with a man who'd proven he could walk away. She thought about Marcus, about the man she'd married, the man who'd promised forever. That man was gone, but there was a small part of her that hoped for Emma and Elijah's sake that maybe Marcus could become the father they deserved, not for her. She'd moved past hoping for herself, but for them? She'd always hoped for them. The courtroom was packed when Maya arrived. Rebecca was already there, reviewing documents. Marcus sat at his table, alone this time. No Victoria in sight. Judge Morrison entered, and everyone rose. When they were seated again, the judge wasted no time. I've reviewed the social worker's report, she began, her voice carrying through the silent room. Ms. Park's findings are thorough and illuminating. Maya's hands gripped the armrests of her chair. Ms. Torres, Judge Morrison said, looking directly at her, your home environment is exemplary given your circumstances. You have demonstrated consistent, competent care for your children. You have organized systems in place, strong community support. And despite significant financial limitations, you've managed admirably. Maya felt tears building. Mr. Carter, Judge Morrison's tone sharpened as she turned to Marcus. Your situation is concerning. You have made minimal effort to be involved in your children's daily care. You have provided inadequate financial support. And most troubling, you have made no preparation whatsoever for these children to be in your home. Marcus looked down. However, Judge Morrison continued, the court believes that children benefit from having both parents involved when possible. Mr. Carter, I'm going to give you an opportunity to prove you can be the father these children need. She looked at both parties. Here is my ruling. Ms. Maya Torres is granted primary physical and legal custody of the minor children. Emma Rose and Elijah James Torres. Maya's breath caught. Mr. Marcus Carter will have supervised visitation twice per week for 2 hours each session. This supervision will continue for 3 months, after which we will reassess for unsupervised visitation based on demonstrated consistency and competence. Judge Morrison wasn't finished. Mr. Carter will pay child support in the amount of $1,000 per month, $500 per child. Furthermore, he owes back support of $750 for the 3 months since the children's birth, to be paid within 60 days. Marcus's lawyer stood. Your Honor, that amount is fair and appropriate, Judge Morrison said firmly. Mr. Carter has the means. He simply hasn't chosen to use them for his children. That ends now. She banged her gavel. This court is adjourned. We'll reconvene in 3 months for a review. Maya sat motionless as people began to file out. She'd won. She'd actually won. Rebecca hugged her. You did it. They're yours. They're mine, Maya whispered. Across the aisle, Marcus was speaking with his lawyer, his expression devastated. When his lawyer left, Marcus sat alone for a moment before standing and walking toward Maya. Maya, he said quietly. She looked up at him, this man she'd once loved, once trusted. I know I don't deserve it, Marcus said, his voice shaking, but thank you for not trying to keep me completely out of their lives. I'm going to do better. I promise. Maya stood, meeting his eyes. Don't promise me, Marcus. Promise them. Show up for your supervised visits. Learn how to care for them. Pay your support on time. Be the father they deserve. That's all I want from you. I will. I swear I will. Good. She picked up Emma's car seat. Because if you don't, I won't give you another chance. She walked past him, Rebecca following. In the hallway, Rosa was waiting with open arms. Primary custody? Rosa asked anxiously. Primary custody, Maya confirmed. Rosa whooped and pulled her into a hug. Careful not to jostle the car seats. Over the following weeks, something unexpected happened. Marcus showed up for every single supervised visit. He arrived early, stayed the full 2 hours, and asked questions constantly. How do you know when they're hungry versus tired? Why does Emma hate tummy time? What's the best way to burp Elijah? The supervisor, an older woman named Mrs. Chun, reported back to the court that Marcus was engaged in learning. Maya watched this transformation warily. She'd been burned before. But for Emma and Elijah's sake, she allowed herself to hope, just a little, that maybe Marcus was finally becoming the father she'd needed him to be from the beginning. One Saturday afternoon, Marcus asked if he could bring his mother to a visit. Maya agreed. When they arrived, Marcus's mother, a dignified woman named Gloria, took one look at the babies and burst into tears. My grandbabies, she whispered, holding them gently. Oh, Marcus, they're beautiful. Gloria turned to Maya. I'm so sorry for what my son did to you. There's no excuse. But thank you for letting me meet them. Maya felt her defenses crumble slightly. They should know their grandmother. And they will, Gloria promised. I'll make sure Marcus doesn't mess this up again. Over coffee, while Marcus played with the twins, Gloria spoke quietly to Maya. He's in therapy now, twice a week. Finally dealing with his issues instead of running from them. That's good, Maya said carefully. It doesn't fix what he did to you, Gloria continued. But maybe it means he can be the father those babies deserve. I hope so, Maya said honestly. For their sake. 3 months passed. At the review hearing, Judge Morrison reviewed glowing reports from the supervisor. Mr. Carter has demonstrated remarkable improvement, she announced. He's attended every scheduled visit, completed a parenting course, and has now properly equipped his home for the children. She looked at both parties. I'm approving unsupervised visitation. Mr. Carter may have the children every other weekend and 1 evening per week. Marcus's face lit up with relief and gratitude. However, Judge Morrison added sternly, this is contingent on continued consistency. 1 missed visit, 1 late support payment, and we're back to supervised. Do you understand, Mr. Carter? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. After the hearing, Marcus approached Maya in the hallway. I know this doesn't erase what I did, But I want you to know, I'm committed. Those kids are my priority now. Maya studied him. He looked different. More mature. More grounded. Prove it with actions, not words. I will. And over the next year, slowly, Marcus did. He showed up. He learned. He grew. And while Maya never forgot the pain he'd caused, she began to believe that maybe, just maybe, her children would have the father they deserved after all. 18 months after the custody battle began, Maya stood in her new apartment, a 2-bedroom she'd been able to afford thanks to her new job, watching Emma and Elijah play with blocks on the carpet. They were nearly 2 years old now, walking confidently, talking in simple sentences, and full of personality. Marcus was due to pick them up for his weekend visitation in 20 minutes. These handoffs had become routine. No drama, no tension. Just 2 parents coordinating schedules for the sake of their children. Maya's phone rang. Her sister Rosa. "Hey," Maya answered. "Just calling to remind you about brunch tomorrow with me and Leonard," Rosa said. Leonard. Maya smiled. She'd met him 6 months ago through a friend at church. He was kind, patient, and genuinely interested in her life, including her children. They were taking things slowly, but for the first time since Marcus, Maya could imagine a future with someone. "I haven't forgotten," Maya promised. "Good. He's crazy about you. You know, I'm starting to believe that," Maya admitted. After hanging up, Maya looked around her home. Photos of the twins covered the walls. Their toys were scattered everywhere. Her laptop sat on the kitchen table where she'd been working. Earlier, she'd gotten promoted twice in the past year at her remote job. She built this life. From nothing but heartbreak and determination, she'd created stability and joy. The doorbell rang. Marcus stood outside, looking nervous. "Hey, ready for the handoff?" "Almost." Maya called the twins. "Emma, Elijah, Daddy's here." 2 small bodies came running, squealing with excitement. Marcus crouched down and caught them both in a hug, his face lighting up with pure love. Watching them, Maya felt something shift in her chest. Not forgiveness, not completely. Some wounds never fully healed, but something close. Acceptance, maybe. He'd hurt her deeply, but he'd become the father Emma and Elijah needed. And that mattered more than her pain. "I'll have them back Sunday evening," Marcus said, standing with Elijah on his hip while Emma grabbed his hand. "Sounds good." "Oh, and Marcus?" "Emma has a dentist appointment next week. Tuesday at 10. I'll put it in my calendar." "Thanks for letting me know." This was their new normal. Co-parenting. Communicating. Putting the children first. After Marcus left with the twins, Maya sat down with a cup of tea and her journal. She'd started writing it during the hardest days, and the habit had stuck. "Today I'm thinking about what I've learned through all of this," she wrote. "I learned that I'm stronger than I ever imagined. That I can survive things I thought would break me. That asking for help isn't weakness, it's wisdom. I learned that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up. Rosa, Mrs. Chun, my church family. They carried me when I couldn't walk, and I learned that sometimes love means letting go. Not forgetting, not excusing, but releasing the anger that only poisons yourself. Marcus broke my heart and abandoned us when we needed him most. That will always be true. But he's also trying now, really trying, to be present for Emma and Elijah. And for their sake, I have to let him. This isn't the life I planned. The perfect marriage. The intact family. But it's a good life. A full life. And my children are loved by so many people. Maybe that's enough." She closed the journal and looked out the window at the setting sun, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Her phone buzzed with a photo from Marcus. Emma and Elijah in their car seats, both grinning. On their way to his place for the weekend, Maya smiled and texted back, "Have fun with them." Then she did something she hadn't done in 2 years. She ran a bath, lit candles, put on music, and took an evening just for herself, because she'd learned the most important lesson of all. She couldn't pour from an empty cup. Taking care of herself wasn't selfish. It was necessary. It made her a better mother, a better person. And as she sank into the warm water, letting the stress of the week dissolve, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Moral of the story: true strength isn't about never falling. It's about rising every time you do. Maya's journey teaches us that asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Community, family, and faith can carry us through our darkest hours, when we're brave enough to let them. The story also reminds us that people can change, but only through consistent action, not just words or promises. Marcus abandoned his family at their most vulnerable moment. But when forced to confront his failures, he chose growth over excuses. Most importantly, this story shows that doing what's right for our children sometimes means putting aside our own hurt to give them the love and stability they deserve. Not through blind forgiveness, but through boundaries, accountability, and the courage to co-parent with grace. Your past doesn't define your future. Your choices do. And choosing hope, choosing to fight for what matters, choosing to build a life with love at its center, that's how we survive. That's how we thrive.